Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Streamed and Screamed, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipschutz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee, and co-host the program with Bruce Miller, a longtime entertainment reporter. And there is so much going on right now. We are heading back to Gilead, right? I mean, exciting times. We've got, one series done and another one's back.
Did you miss it? Did you say, I got to find out what's going on in that place?
Well, it ended, but I think like a lot of people, I really loved the first season of Handmaid's Tale, and it's slowly kind of moved, I don't know, maybe too far away from the source material and got a little long in the tooth. But I don't know, I like the idea here of going back into the future, because I think when you watch these dystopian type of shows, these futuristic type of shows, you always want to wonder, like, what happens next? Did did Gilead ever fall? Did it ever go back to being the US of A, So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out by the end of the series, however long it goes. But you've been watching it, right?
I watched all of the Testaments, so I can live to tell the story. It's a kind of if you will, a side story.
Mm-hmm.
A sequel of sorts. I don't know what the correct term is, but it tells the story of other women, not the Handmaid's Tale. So you don't see women in red marching anywhere. The colors are purple, white, green, and they represent different things. The purple are the plums, are the girls who are going to be married off to some of the rich guys. And pearls, which I found fascinating, are girls who are off the street and come into this world. So it'd be like they took them in and then they're going to train them how to be proper young women, I guess is their deal with this. But we get the view of this through three people. Aunt Lydia, I think it's Aunt Lydia. Is that her name?
Right. Yeah. Ann Dowd plays Aunt Lydia.
Yeah. She has her version of what's going on. And then there's one of the Plums who seems like a kind of a leading one, played by Chase Infiniti, who was in One Battle After Another, the best picture of the year.
Right.
And then there's a third one, Lucy Halliday, who is one of the pearls.
Okay.
And we really don't know much about the idea of pearls until we get into a couple of episodes, and then you see flashbacks to what her life was before she got into this. So then you understand what's going on. Well, they become friends. Of course, they're all friends, but sometimes it's a matter of who tells on who. Are you letting the authorities know that I maybe am a little subversive, or I am not sticking to the rules, or what? So it's fascinating to see that kind of dynamic, because you don't know who's going to turn on you in any minute.
Right.
And I would hate to be in this world. I couldn't. I would be the talker. I'd be telling everything I know, and then running to the authorities and saying, "Hey, so-and-so really seems bad. I think we need to talk to her about this." It'd be like that kind of a situation. But I got a chance to talk to all of them, but I have an interview that I think we're going to share with Mattea Conforti and Rowan Blanchard, and they are two of the Plums. And you'll get a sense of what this is all about in the conversation. Okay, it's Bruce Miller with Lee Enterprises, and don't trust Pearl Girls, right?
No.
Those Pearl Girls are going to be trouble no matter what. When you two first got on the set, what surprised you about this world that they've created?
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, how beautiful it honestly kind of is. Like the colors and the costumes and the sets, it was just incredible. It didn't seem real while we were filming. And I remember watching a few drone takes back when the one that comes in particular to mind is the one when you see the entire school in it and we reveal where we all go to school at the Aunt Lydia school. But yeah, everything just seems so beautiful. That's what really shocked me the most.
I was surprised. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was surprised by, the amount of humor that we ended up finding in the show, and the amount of there's so much more than what we perceive as the darkness in Gilead.
when you have those kind of large scenes where you're like a mob, an angry mob,
Mhm.
like shouting at someone or encouraging people to do certain things. I don't know how much I could. Is that powerful? Do you feel that, or do you go, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of this," or how do you feel?
Oh, I felt it. I felt powerful.
I think it's the only time where the girls are allowed to kind of show like emotion,
Yeah.
and assert any sort of dominance. So it was fun, when we shot. I think the scene you're referencing is in the first episode, and there was like 200 of us, all the
Mhm.
girls, and we were all shouting. It was like 4 in the morning when we shot that, but
Challenge.
it was also, it was amazing to hear everybody commit so hard to
Mhm.
yelling.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. A lot of yelling that day, but it was it was this it's this weird power dynamic switch where now we're taking the authority over the men and we're able to show that we can control their fate and we can show them who's boss, you know? So that I think that's what was most exciting about filming those scenes in particular.
Were there things that you found you thought, part of this world isn't that bad?
Mm.
I think just like in any sort of world, no matter how anybody perceives it on the outside, people are people and young women are women. So there's like so much friendship and
Yeah.
happiness still, and there's a lot of light that they find in each other.
Yeah. In it at its core, it's a really empowering story of friendship it's a really empowering coming of age story. So I think that's very relatable and can resonate a lot with audience members and can make them reflect back on, their own adolescence and their own childhood in that kind of way. But yeah, there's a lot of themes that are easily relatable, but also, you can kind of sense out the a dramatized version of a lot of things that we deal with every day.
What I couldn't, get is how girls would not talk a lot about what was going on. I thought,
Mhm.
"Oh, they're not gonna be able to control these girls because look at this world." I would stop and say, "Wait a minute here now. What's going on? It must be something else that controls them?"
They don't have any sort of outside knowledge of what another way to behave would be.
Yeah.
We know as a society that they're being controlled and that they're being instructed to behave that way, but they don't have any sort of
Yeah.
outside reference. They're being told that they live the best life possible and that the people on the outside world are the ones to pity. And those are the people who are cursed and are struggling.
Yeah.
Were you fans of Handmaid's Tale?
Oh, yeah. I was. Yeah. I think it was, it's such a revolutionary piece of entertainment that I feel like it's just necessary to obviously watch. But yeah, I was a big fan of The Handmaid's Tale and of Margaret Atwood prior to coming into this world. So it's been such a joy being able to step into the universe and come into it on my own.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's so iconic, and getting to be a part of this amazing, detailed world that Margaret created is really an incredible experience.
Well, thank you. I'm up to the 4th episode, so
Oh.
don't spoil anything, but it's
I'll keep my mouth shut.
yeah, no, don't say anything, right? But hey, thank you so much, and good luck with this.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Bruce, for that interview. Now, you said you got to see all the episodes. Now we know there's, spoiler warnings, and I know like when you sent me things, Disney had or Hulu
Do
had
not talk about
that
these things.
do not talk about these things, right? So I don't want you to spoil anything, but having seen the original series and having seen this one, just what are your general feelings on it? Did you like it? Is it okay? Does it live up to the original?
You don't need the original one to understand this one. If you've never been in the world of Gilead or what they're all about, you will get it from this. You'll understand. In fact, I think it's actually a cleaner break. It's easier to understand because you're coming in with a different perspective. You don't see the handmaids, and I think that's a whole other area that you would maybe want to see it after you've
Hmm.
seen this. But there are connections, I must say, There are people from the original series who do cross over into this besides Ann Dowd.
Okay. And yeah, we're not gonna reveal anything, but
But
yeah.
if you were a fan of the first one, you will be rewarded in the end when you find out what's happening.
Okay. And this is also created by
Bruce
your
Miller.
by Bruce Miller, right? Your
Right.
cousin, right?
Yes. Isn't that great? Look, yeah, and I didn't get to talk to him on this one, so we'll see what happens. But there is
Interesting.
room too for having seen the book.
Mhm.
There is more story in the book about the testaments than they use, but it comes to a good conclusion if they don't get another episode or another series out of this.
Okay.
But they could. They easily
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, have they I don't recall. Did they announce a season 2 at all yet on this, or
No, and I think because it hasn't hit the airwaves, they want to see how well it lands, if people are
Sure.
still interested in the concept or not. But,
Okay.
hey, it's got big names in it. It's got a bunch of really good people. And I was fascinated by it. And I was not, I waned on Handmaid's Tale toward the
Yeah.
end. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, God, too many characters. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they fit into this story. I don't want to try and learn.
Right.
And with this, it's pretty compact, and I know who everybody is and where they
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah. My biggest issues with the original series largely I felt it was such an oppressive regime, right? Gilead, where they're killing you. You say one wrong thing, and they're chopping off your hand, or you're getting hung up on the wall. And June Osborne did about 35 different things in every season, where she should have been killed at least 12 times over, and it never
Right.
did. So it hit a point to me where it's like, this isn't even believable anymore. And then the other piece
It
of the
isn't
show,
believable for one of these regimes.
right?
No.
Exactly. But the other piece of this that kind of would drive my wife crazy with the show is that they would always zoom in on June Osborne super close, and she'd have that expression on her face, and it's hard to explain, but if you've seen the original show, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's that zoom in, extreme close up on June Osborne's face, and it would drive her crazy seeing this. It did kind of bother me a little bit, not enough to turn off the show, but it was kind of like mouth agape and like blank stare kind of
Right.
thing.
I
I
can't believe this is happening,
I
right?
can't believe this is happening, but yeah, all right. Well, gonna have to check that out.
Well, I
Another,
think you'd stick with it, and when I got access, I just plowed through them. I wanted to see all of
yeah,
them right away.
yeah. Well, we were talking about another show last week that one of my favorites, and I am multiple episodes in now for All Mankind season 5. I've been crushing through. Now that's a weekly episode drop, so I've got to wait several weeks until we get to the end of the season. But I've been enjoying what I've seen so far. It's um, it's interesting seeing how they're aging up the characters. They're getting a little bit older, but I feel like they're keeping the story plot moving along pretty well. It's keeping me engaged. Yeah,
Didn't you think though one of the original guys looks way too old?
well. Here's the problem. So I know what you're talking about. I think Joel Kinnaman, right? The Ed Baldwin character, who he was one of the original Apollo astronauts. He from the very first season, and now we're up to around I don't know, where's the season now, around 2010 2012, something like that. So I was trying to do the math, so if he was 35 40 years old when he was going to the moon, that would probably mean he's like 80ish now. um
He
and
doesn't get another season, right?
no, there's no way he can make it to season 6 at this rate. But I think you can only do so much with makeup and AI and CGI and all that before it just doesn't look real. Because part of it too is just how you walk and you move and stuff. Like, I remember my grandfather before he passed away. He had moved to a point where he was shuffling his feet and he moved slowly and he talked. And I remember him as a younger man, and he was, in great physical shape and moved quickly. And I feel like that's a natural thing that you just lose. And it looks like as an actor, he's trying to perform that, but it's not necessarily pulling it off, because I think that's just something you lose
Yeah.
naturally, right? So you could try to imitate it, but there's something to be said about like somebody who's actually going through that. But it's been interesting. And then you have the other character too, who's in prison, who she was
Correct.
one of the original actors, and it's kind of the same thing where she's younger in real life, but they've aged her up considerably, and she's trying to move slowly, and you know
I
having
think they
trouble
overscrewed
seeing.
at some points, and I think they look
Yeah,
too old. Just
I
me.
yeah, I think with this show, if they're gonna keep bringing it back, and I mean, this in theory, you could just keep on doing this show forever if they really wanted to. Um, I think you do have to kind of age these characters out at this point. Like I would be stunned if if there is a season 6, um, if you bring any of these characters back, because it just feels like you'd be way too old at this
Well,
point.
remember when The Crown would recast every season?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it worked, and I
Yeah.
think you could do that now. You could bring Ian McKellen in. He could be one of the old guys, and,
Right.
it's just a thought, but I think they try too hard with the makeup, and you go,
Yeah.
I see through that, and it looks like all it is they're working through makeup.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it didn't look natural. I would agree there. But from a story, yep, story is fine. I'm enjoying it as usual. So been watching that, and then I know this is a show that you don't love it, but my wife and I do. Shrinking.
Ranking.
It's pretty much the season is pretty much over at this point, but we've slowly been catching up, and it's been good. I mean, I like it. They've been adding some new characters. Michael J. Fox has been, he's been retired for a number of years because of Parkinson's, but Harrison Ford's character in the show has Parkinson's. So they brought in Michael J. Fox to supplement the cast
As a different
periodically.
character or as himself?
As a different character. He's somebody who has Parkinson's,
Is he
and
advising him then about what it's like?
a little bit. Yeah, there's some of that in the first episode, and then he eventually becomes his patient. As somebody who can, like, as a therapist who's going
Sure.
through Parkinson's, can help fellow patients as well. So
But it's
we
not
we enjoy it. Yeah.
it's not, depressing, right?
No. Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no. I love Michael J. Fox as an actor. I mean, he from Back to the Future and Family Ties, and even like Teen Wolf and things like that. He's somebody I grew up with, and it hurts to have to watch what he's gone
Yeah.
through. And I mean, it's wonderful that he's been able to be such an advocate for Parkinson's, and at least try to continue acting for as long as he did, both on screen but also the voiceover work. But I mean, he's still a relatively young man. He's, I think, 64,
Yeah.
and he's been living with this for what, 30 years now, and he's still powering through it. So, which is great. And I'm glad he's able to do this, because it is a bit of advocacy on that part and
Okay.
awareness. But
When we look at that show, the show is always nominated for Emmys.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who stands out this year? You say this one is, I mean, Harrison Ford, okay, we know.
Yeah.
But is there somebody else you go, yep, this one could be his or her year?
not for an Emmy. I think it's such an ensemble cast. I imagine like Jessica Williams will probably get a nomination, because I think she has in the past, and she's really good in it. But to me, this, yeah, I mean, it's like it's such an ensemble, and I don't think any one character leaps to the foreground.
Okay.
So it's like, yes, I think Harrison Ford, because he is such a name, and because he's so respected, and because he's doing a different role for himself, I could see him easily getting another nomination, whether or not he'll win or not. He's really good in this season. I like him a lot. Yeah.
He's like Henry Winkler when he was in Bill Hader's show, where
Yeah.
you go, all right, here's a chance for us to give him an award and not feel like we just kind of tossed him a bone.
Yeah. Right.
So I'd like
Yep.
to see him win at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's interesting. It's kind of, it's like How I Met Your Mother meets Ted Lasso, because you have both, that connection between the shows. Brett Goldstein's a producer, and Marshall from How I Met Your Mother, of course, is starring on the show and producing it and stuff. So you get a little bit of that flair.
Um, who was I going to ask about on that show? There was somebody else. But anyway, you tell me it's okay I should watch it, or is it wait until you have to?
Well, I think like we've had this conversation every year, and it's just not your show. So I think that's fine. We can all have our shows. You know, what's good for me isn't necessarily good for you, but I love it. I love
I
it.
plowed through Jury Duty Presents Corporate Retreat, I think is the name of it. It's
Okay.
a second way to deal with that. I don't know that I'm, the poor guy who doesn't realize he's in with a bunch of actors and they're going on a corporate retreat. And
Mm,
it's for grandma's like hot sauce or something like this. And he's supposed to be the assistant who helps the guy who's planning the retreat pull it all together. Well, that guy leaves and he's in charge of this retreat. And it's like, you're letting a temp handle all of this. And he seizes it. He really likes being in charge. But I wonder if that's the point where you go, does he realize that he's part of a series and he's just playing along because he wants it to play out? It seems he's a little too eager to be a party of activation for the concept.
mhm,
And I mean, it's funny, but they also in the courtroom one, Jury Duty, you didn't see the people outside the courtroom that much. You didn't see them going to Chili's or anything like that. You basically saw them in the courtroom, or if they were deliberating or something, that they were always together for that. Well, now these other characters have lives that they follow
mm,
outside the conferences, and I find
okay.
that kind of phony. Like, they're two characters talking, but they don't have anything to do with the guy that they're trying to dupe. So they're just creating a storyline that, okay, I get it, but
Yeah.
so it's funny. You do laugh, and I think really you're done at 7 episodes. The
Yeah.
rest are kind of filler where they bring people in to talk about the experience and what does this mean for everybody. But um I don't know. I don't know that the concept worked. I think it would have been, I think this is a good idea for them. Okay, so they listen to me. I'll give you your next series idea.
Yeah.
And this would be great in like a newsroom setting. Is you bring somebody in as the new head, like if you had somebody come in as the editor who doesn't know anything about the business.
Ah.
Now, then you get all of the people who are real in the office talking about that person and how stupid he is and what kind of mistakes he makes and how they would have done it better. I think that would be better way of having this kind of sneak camera thing, prank
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it, work, because you'd be able to then get a lot of opinions. And then the guy would just be stupid. It's very much like The Office if Michael Scott were a real person
Okay.
who, I don't, but that's where I think that should go. I watched it. It wasn't that hard to watch. And like I say, when you're only kind of really caring about 7 episodes, you can make it through and you're good. It's a good weekend one if it's a rainy weekend and nothing else to do.
Yeah. And that's an Amazon Prime show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't
Okay.
know that they might dump one a week. I don't
Yeah.
know if they dump all of them at once, but um fascinating how they resolve all of it.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So anything else you've been
Well, and
watching?
then in the movie field, I went to everybody is going to the Mario Galaxy.
Right.
You go to the theater and it's like 10,000 kids, and because it was a holiday, they all had the day off. They're all spending $10,000 on all of the treats and everything else. And so to get in that, good luck. I don't know if I have to go at 10 o'clock at night and then I'll get in, but I went to the drama as my alternate choice,
Okay.
me and 2 people. So, uh, that is about a couple played by Robert Pattinson and Zendaya who are getting married, who happen to spill one of them spills some information about her past life that I would consider a deal breaker, and I say, "Well, then we're putting the wedding on hold."
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk through this and figure it out because I wouldn't want to live with this and then say, "Oh, my bad, I forgot." You know? It's so I am very lukewarm on it, and I don't it
Yeah,
I think the advertising hasn't been figured out where you can understand, is this a horror film or is
right.
this a comedy? It could be a rom-com because easily
Yeah,
they could be considered a rom-com couple.
right.
Uh, yeah, so I went to that, and we'll see where that heads. And
Yeah.
then we've got Malcolm in the Middle coming on TV,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
revisit, and thank God it's 4 episodes.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it to you this way. How many episodes of the original series do you think I watched?
0.
I watched more than 0, but probably less than 5 because
Less
I
than a
hate
season's worth.
oh, yeah, I hated that show. I hated that show. It
Well,
was
and then you wonder, how are those kids any different? And the
right.
answer is they aren't.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a race car driver now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston, wouldn't he be the kind to say, "I don't think I need to do this. Thank you very much," because his
Right.
career is tugging along, but he goes back and he's just as Hal as he used to be. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. He's funny,
Yeah. He's
but
such a bizarre career from Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad, right? And
right.
now his daughter is in one of the best shows
In the
on
pit.
TV, in the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it'd be fun to see
Exactly.
them together, though. We'll see
Yeah,
where that goes.
I know. I know. I was thinking about that. We did get to the movies. It was the first movie we attended since I think Avatar around Christmas break. We went to see Project Hail Mary in the theater.
So are
So
you putting on the list? It's the best movie yet this year?
it is the best movie this year that I've seen in the theater, hands down. You could like seal of approval on that. No, we really liked it. It was I wasn't quite sure what to expect at first. I think when I saw some of the original trailers, I
The
was
beginning
like,
is slow.
yeah, it is. Um, we really liked it. I think like my wife, I looked over to her. She's got tears welling up in her eyes, and the kids liked it, and I liked it, and it was an interesting movie because it feels like it's in that same um like you had 2001 A Space Odyssey and kind of that, and then you had Interstellar. I think this movie sort of falls along those lines of, like where are we all in humanity and all that stuff, but it takes a different approach obviously by introducing an actual like alien that, you can sort of identify with, and
That you can buy in a store.
you can buy it in a store, but it wasn't, like cheesy in any way. It's not like like a porg or something like that from
Right.
Star Wars or a Tribble or whatever, Trouble with Tribbles, that kind of thing. But it was just such a touching story, and it got you thinking. And yeah, we loved it. The biggest thing for us really was the whole popcorn bucket experience. AMC did away with the popcorn bucket.
What?
Yes, they moved to a popcorn pass. So for $30, of course they got it because it was, I think it was like 25 bucks previously, but now it's like $30 because they had to raise the price like everything else. So you go in with the popcorn pass now, and you just get the large bucket, the paper bucket they have behind there. I think it's $5 for the bucket. You get a free refill on it. So I think we have to go to the movies 6 times to kind of break even on it or come out ahead. Which is fine. We'll ultimately do it, but we kind of like, we did bring our bucket with us thinking that we were just going to buy a new bucket for 2026 and then have the two. They were kind enough at AMC. They gave us our paper bucket and then filled up our old plastic bucket while we were there. And so that way we could have double popcorns, but
So you don't have to bring the paper bucket back every time.
no, because that one's disposable, but it's on my AMC app. So, like when I log in, it's underneath my frequent whatever my A list.
Okay, well then do they still have those kind of goofy ones that are like, in Dune?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they still have some of those, but it's like, how those things are. They're like 25, $30 for the stupid plastic thing, and it barely
And no
holds any
popcorn.
popcorn. Right. Yeah. I mean, it holds like a few
2 kernels and a
Bunches, right?
right.
Exactly. So yeah, but it was good. It was good to get back to the theater. It was a good movie. We really liked it.
Yeah, I think it'd be wonderful in IMAX. If
Mm.
I don't have it in IMAX here, so I couldn't see it, but I think it has that kind of spread where you go, "Oh my god, I love this. This is good." And it's still doing well too, so
Yeah, I know. I was surprised because it's been out in the theaters for several weeks now, and we went, and the theater was pretty close to being packed. We were we walked in. It's like, oh, where are we sitting? And we
is
didn't
this
expect it to be this
Melania? Are
full.
we at Melania?
Yeah. And it kind of felt like spillover from Super Mario Brothers. It's like, well, maybe we'll go to this. We can't get into the other, but
Right.
there you have it. Anything else on the horizon coming up
Well,
that we
there
might be
are,
talking
but
about?
well, we'll have to wait till next week. You know,
Okay.
I'm
All right.
chugging through everything, and hopefully we'll have great stuff for you. But I know I have, it's funny. I have all these interviews, and I don't write them down, and then I have to go to my phone and say, what time do I have to do this? When
Yep.
is this? And then it's like, well, 2 minutes from now. Hurry up, get ready, get on the air, and let's see what happens. So, yeah, so there's stuff coming. I wish I could tell you off a list, and maybe that's a clue to me that I should get a list.
Yeah. Well, you get a list, but that mystery will keep our listeners coming back. So well,
There's
thank
something
you.
in the mix. I'm not sure what it is.
Exactly. Right, exactly. All right, well, thank you for listening, and we'll be back again next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened.